This is the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite.
Good evening. Not since the founding of the modern state of Israel, not as far as we know, has a leader of Israel met with a leader of Egypt. But now all obstacles appear to have been removed for peace discussions in Jerusalem between Egyptian President Sadat and Israeli Prime Minister Begin. It happened this way earlier today in CBS News interviews with the two leaders.
I'm just waiting for the proper invitation.
You must get something directly from Mr. Begin, not through the press.
Right.
And how would that be transmitted, sir, since you do not have diplomatic relations with Israel?
Why not through our mutual friend, the Americans?
And I will, during the week, ask my friend, the American ambassador to Israel, to find out in Cairo from his colleague, the American ambassador to Egypt, whether he will be prepared to give us his good offices and transmit a letter from me to President Sadat, inviting him formally and cordially through the good offices of the United States to come to Jerusalem.
We'll have more on the Sadat-Begin interviews in a moment.
I'm spending Wednesday night at the in-laws, but I'm not missing Wednesday night at the movies.
I'm studying for a Tuesday morning exam, but I'm not missing Monday night football.
I'm working the late shift, but I'm not missing the late show.
Thanks to Sony's revolutionary Betamax deck, which hooks up to any TV set, now you can automatically videotape your favorite show even when you're not home and watch it anytime you want.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm going home to watch the late show.
On the drawing board, it started as a lot of good ideas. On the road, it's a lot of practical car. Olds' new Cutlass Salon. One idea was more comfort, so we added more head and leg room than last year. Another was smooth ride and response, so Olds redesigned the chassis and suspension. Even EPA mileage estimates are now 29 highway, 20 city. Olds' new Cutlass Salon is more than mere practicality. It's a car full of new ideas. Can we build one for you?
The interviews with the leaders of Egypt and Israel were conducted by a satellite to Cairo and Tel Aviv. I talked first with Egypt's Sadat and asked him about his offer to discuss peace in Jerusalem and whether there were any preconditions to that trip.
The only condition is that I want to discuss the whole situation with the 120 members of the Knesset and put the full picture and details of the situation from our point of view.
If you get that formal invitation, how soon are you prepared to go?
Really, I'm looking forward to fulfill this visit in the earliest time possible.
Would that could be, say, within a week?
You can say that, yes.
You said that you wish to address the Knesset, the parliament in Israel. Would you also
right.
Would you also engage in substantive discussion?
I mean, exchange of views or so with Begin, yes.
What about the opposition from some of your fellow leaders in the Arab world to this visit? They have expressed this to you, I gather.
I didn't tell any one of my colleagues, and I didn't ask them to agree or not agree upon this. I felt that my responsibility and my responsibility as president of Egypt also is to try all means to reach peace. And I took this decision. For sure, there are those who are against it, but as much as I am convinced that this is the right way and my people backs me, I shall be fulfilling the whole thing.
Has the PLO leader Yasser Arafat expressed any opinion on this visit to Premier Begin?
Not at all. Not at all, because as I told you, Walter, this is my initiative.
What is the ultimate that could result from such a meeting? What's the best you could hope for?
We are in a crucial moment. There has never been a suitable moment in the Arab world to reach genuine peace like we are now. So I want to put the facts before them. And at the same time, we want to discuss what will be the other alternative if we can't achieve peace. It will be horrible. Believe me, horrible.
You suggested that perhaps a Palestinian, now as a professor in an American university, might be a proper representative and solve this problem of who would represent the Palestinians at Geneva.
Right.
You said that Yasser Arafat had agreed with that.
Yes.
However, now the information director for the PLO at the Tunis meeting of foreign ministers says the whole idea is absurd.
You know, we are accustomed to this in the Arab world, and I anticipated this. But you see, as I'm telling you, I'm quite calm.
In my later interview with Israel's Begin, I asked him when he would take the necessary steps to move this new peace initiative from long-distance dialogue to a person-to-person meeting.
Tomorrow I will make a statement in our parliament in the afternoon, and I think that immediately after this statement I will get in touch with Mr. Lewis, my good friend, the American ambassador, and so find out. What I can assure you, Mr. Cronkite, as we really want the visit of President Sadat, we really want to negotiate peace, to establish permanent peace in the Middle East, I will not hesitate to send such a letter.
Are there any preconditions? Are there any conditions under which you will be inviting him to?
No preconditions, and I understand that also President Sadat doesn't put forward any preconditions. He has got his position, we have our position. Let us sit together around the table and talk peace, and everybody will bring his position.
He hinted to me this morning that he thought it might be possible that he would be going to Israel if the invitation was forthcoming within a week or so. Do you think that's realistic?
Very good news. Well, if President Sadat is ready to come next week, if he tells me that he will come next week, I will have to postpone my trip to Britain, because I am supposed to go next Sunday to London at the invitation of Prime Minister Callahan. But I suppose that Prime Minister Callahan will also be agreeable rather to postpone that meeting for a week and rather have President Sadat in Jerusalem, because it gives hope to have peace in the Middle East. But if President Sadat would come after my return from Europe, I will come back home next Friday after my visit to London and to Geneva, and then he may come the other Monday. But anyhow, any time, any day he is prepared to come, I will receive him cordially at the airport, go together with him to Jerusalem, also present him to the Knesset, and let him make a speech to our parliament. I will follow him onto the platform, greet him, receive him. I think it's now up to President Sadat to carry out his, let me say, promise or bring into fruition his readiness to come to Jerusalem.
At an Arab foreign ministers meeting in Tunis, John Sheehan reports that PLO delegates privately view a Sadat trip to Israel as very, very bad, but they say they will not publicly criticize Sadat. In Washington, the State Department says a Geneva peace conference still is needed, and if one is not held this year, Secretary Vance is considering a January trip to the region to get talks going. Incidentally, at the Tunis meeting, the Egyptian and Libyan foreign ministers announced a peace agreement ending their 4-year-old feud.
Welcome, neighbor.
Hi, Mr. Cholesterol here. Nice housewarming. I brought some spare ribs, pizza, butter noodles. Hey, Fleischmann's margarine.
It's the only leading margarine made from 100% corn oil. It has no cholesterol. Zero.
It's high in polyunsaturated. And it tastes great.
Fleischmann's Margarine, ideal for low cholesterol modified fat diets. 100% corn oil,
0% cholesterol.
What untypes as easily as it types? The Smith Corona cartridge ribbon typewriter. Snap out the typing cartridge, snap in the correcting cartridge. The Smith Corona cartridge ribbon typewriter.
President Carter today endorsed a compromise version of the Humphrey Hawkins full employment bill. It sets a goal of 4% unemployment in 5 years, but doesn't provide any program for reaching it. Bob Schieffer reports.
Except for the name, the bill that President Carter agreed to support today bears about as much resemblance to the original legislation as lightning does to lightning bugs. The original idea was to mandate the federal government to spend enough on public service jobs and other subsidies to get unemployment below 4% within 4 years. Various experts pegged the bill's cost at anywhere from $4.5 to $50 billion. In contrast, the new bill simply sets a goal of reducing unemployment to 4% by 1983. It contains no mechanisms to reach that goal and orders no new programs to help in that drive. It also allows the president to modify that goal if that is considered necessary by him at a later date. And it requires Congress to approve each new jobs program on a step-by-step basis, as is now the case. Even so, the bill's advocates seem pleased that the president was willing to set an unemployment target.
I think it's an excellent, realistic, pragmatic, streamlined, and improved version of the Humphrey Hawkins bill.
The commitment is stronger than any that I have ever seen made. I think that it is a reasonable approach, and I certainly agree with the bill as it has been worked out.
When the president announced during the campaign that he would support the Humphrey Hawkins bill, it sent shockwaves through the business community, which had grave reservations about the inflationary impact of a new government program that called for spending billions of dollars. But as one White House aide said privately tonight, when the businessmen see what's in this bill, they're going to like it. Bob Schieffer, CBS News, the White House.
Back in the days when jazz became respectable enough for concert halls, General Tire was recognized as a quality leader. It still is, with a wider choice of tire designs and prices than ever. There's our top-of-the-line dual steel 2 radial, our Sprint steel radial for compact and sporty cars, and for low-cost mileage, our polyester cord Polyjet. Quality, choice, price. General has the tire for you.
Look, I'm no high-paid energy expert, but I can help lower your utility bills with insulation that includes this, a thin layer of Reynolds aluminum foil. Whatever kind of insulation you need, for walls, floors, or attics, aluminum foil makes it work better. Helps save you money on heating and cooling. So if the energy crunch hits you here, like it hits me, look for that layer of aluminum foil before you build or remodel.
Reynolds Aluminum, conserving our resources and energy.
South African black leader Steve Biko was found dead in his Pretoria prison cell 2 months ago. So great has the international protest been that the South African government today opened an inquest into his death. Robin Wright reports.
The drama of the long-awaited inquest began early at the old synagogue in Pretoria, as Biko's family and friends streamed into the courtroom, converted mainly to accommodate the worldwide press. Both the government and the Biko family brought large teams of attorneys, pathologists, and advisors for what has become a highly sensitive and complicated case. So wide is interest in the Biko affair that the American, British, French, German, and Australian embassies sent representatives to hear the proceedings. The first evidence was the autopsy report, which finally made official that Biko's death was caused by head injuries while in police detention last September. A witness said Biko was found naked on his cell floor, glassy-eyed, foaming at the mouth and breathing heavily. Biko family lawyers hammered at police witnesses to determine the circumstances of the young African leader's death. On the stand, Police Major Harold Snyman, who led Biko's interrogation and detention, claimed police were forced to use violence to subdue Biko during questioning. He said Biko tried to punch officers and eventually threw a chair in anger, but Snyman claimed police did not use excessive force. Under tough cross-examination, the major also admitted Biko was kept in handcuffs and leg irons during most of the interrogation. He added that Biko had been kept naked for almost 3 weeks to prevent a suicide attempt, although he had been given a blanket, sometimes used in prison suicides. Legal sources said in private today that other evidence will claim that Biko hit his head during the confrontation. The African leader died 5 days after the incident. Emotions ran high throughout the proceedings. At noon, one group of blacks launched a demonstration, with spectators joining in the chant, "What have we done? What have we done?" The results are a long way off. Lawyers believe the inquest will continue for up to 3 weeks. But it's already clear the Biko inquest may be one of the most politically painful legal proceedings in South African history. Robin Wright, CBS News, Pretoria.
Britain's 33,000 firemen, their pay increase demands rejected, packed their gear and took to the picket lines today, presenting the Labour government with perhaps its greatest and most dangerous labor problem to date. Firefighting duties were taken over by Army troops. They're inexperienced and thus unable to use some of the most sophisticated modern equipment. However, they coped well with the first day's emergencies. The firemen whose strike is legal vowed not to return to work even if the Queen is trapped in Windsor Castle. In the Philippine capital of Manila today, a fire fanned by typhoon winds swept through a seaside tourist hotel, killing more than 40 persons, including one American, identified as Kenneth Charles of Riverdale, Maryland. Officials said the typhoon caused a power blackout and that candles used to provide light may have started the blaze. Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi of Iran and Empress Farah flew to Williamsburg, Virginia today to begin a 3-day American visit. The Shah will discuss arms sales and oil prices with President Carter tomorrow. But as Mariah McLaughlin reports, Mr. Carter won't be the only one greeting the Shah in Washington.
When the Shah arrived in Williamsburg, 2 groups of demonstrators who were on hand to meet him gave him a taste of what he will face in his visit to Washington. Those who oppose the Shah have already started their demonstrations here. They are mainly Iranian students who cover their faces because they claim they fear reprisals by Savak, the Iranian secret police. They charge that the Shah's government is repressive and corrupt, and they oppose U.S. military and economic ties with Iran. At least 5 plane loads of pro-Shah demonstrators are arriving in Washington, along with over 400 Iranian military men who are in training here in the United States. And there have been ads in major American newspapers in support of the Shah. Just who is paying for all of this is somewhat of a mystery. Most of the organizations taking credit for the ads have no telephone or address listings. Iranian students claim the pro-Shah demonstration is being paid for by the Shah himself.
I think they are trying to tell to the American people that they have supporters, fascist regime of the Shah. And we are exposing this, that they do not have supporters. These are, in fact, paid demonstrators.
The Iranian embassy denies that, and at a planning session for the demonstration, leaders claim they are all paying their own way.
We want to show that we are proud Iranians. That's all we want.
In an interview with public television, the Shah said he is not disturbed by the demonstrations against him.
I think that if you go and inquire about the nature of those who demonstrate against, you would find that they are mostly Marxists.
When the Shah arrives here in Washington tomorrow, the 2 groups of demonstrators, some say there may be 18,000 of them, will be kept in this area, behind the White House. And although the police realize that their most important job is to keep the demonstrators away from the Shah, they anticipate some problems keeping the 2 groups of demonstrators away from one another. Mariah McLaughlin, CBS News, Washington.
Supreme Court has agreed to hear what has become a classic example of the conflict between environment and development, the case of the snail darter. The snail darter is a 3-inch fish, an endangered species, which lives only in a 17-mile stretch of the Little Tennessee River. That stretch, however, is due to become part of the $116 million Tellico Dam and Reservoir project. The Federal Court of Appeals halted work on the Tellico project, and it's that decision the High Court agreed to review. In another action, the court let 7 oil companies which built the Alaska pipeline charge higher prices than the government wants for delivering the oil, pending a decision on the dispute. Negotiators for the Boeing Company and 24,000 striking aerospace workers reached a tentative agreement early today. If ratified, it will end a 6-week walkout at plants in Seattle, Wichita, and Portland, Oregon. There's been no progress in ending a strike, however, against another big aerospace company, Lockheed. A storm off the Pacific drove through parts of Washington, Oregon, and Idaho today with gale-force winds, dropping snow in the mountains and heavy rain in the lowlands. And New England and upstate New York were digging out after a storm that piled 9 inches of snow in some places. With winter approaching, the winter forecast is colder than normal in the Northeast at least. Eric Engberg has looked into natural gas supplies.
The country has had a year to prepare. There's been more drilling for natural gas, and some industries have converted to other fuels. Nevertheless, the country faces another crisis if the 100-year-old record cold temperatures of last winter are repeated.
If this winter is as bad as last, we'll have the same sort of bitter experience that we had last winter. We'll have high unemployment. We'll have to allocate gas supplies around the country to keep people from being cold. And we'll have all of the recriminations that were associated with last winter.
Much depends on the weather. Officials say if it is a normal winter or up to 10% colder than normal, there will be enough gas for homes and most industry. Mainly that's because levels are higher than a year ago in 300 underground storage fields. But not enough can be stored to meet winter demand. So the country will have to continue buying large amounts of gas from Canada, which is ready to sell more than it did last winter. New U.S. discoveries are helping some. Still, the country is using natural gas faster than it is finding it, so discoveries only slow the overall decline. And most experts agree there will be no more gas available than there was last winter. Pipeline companies have other worries as well.
The greatest fear for the winter would be freezing weather that would disrupt the supply, storms in the Gulf of Mexico that would stop the deliveries of gas, failures of the storage fields to deliver gas as they should, prolonged cold spells. Those types of events are very difficult to deal with, and of course all of that happened last winter.
With no way to predict or control the key factor, weather, government and industry can only hope. Hope for a winter mild enough to enable the country to muddle through and escape the crunch that prolonged severe cold will surely bring. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Houston.
The Dow Jones Industrial Average pulled back by about 7.5 points today. Volume on the New York Stock Exchange was 23,200,000 shares. The average price per share dropped 18 cents on the New York Exchange, 3 cents on the American. The government today confirmed that the Soviet Union indeed has purchased more American wheat, 100,000 metric tons of it. And the Soviets are expected to be in the market for even more U.S. grain in the coming year because their harvest is falling far short of expectations. And officials say grain prices probably will be going up slightly as a result of the Russian purchase. CIA Director Stansfield Turner admitted to newsmen today that his agency had erred by overestimating the Russian grain crop by 10%, a fact that could increase the impact on domestic prices of the heavy Soviet purchases. A judge in Santa Monica, California today sentenced stuntman Evel Knievel to 6 months in jail for assault with a deadly weapon. Knievel admitted using a baseball bat to attack the author of a book that the stuntman said defamed him.
Ed White, you're one of the strongest men in football, but I'll bet that one drop of Eastman 910 adhesive is stronger than you are.
No way.
It's been less than a minute, and even you won't be able to pull them apart.
Oh, come on.
If one drop of Eastman 910 is stronger than Ed White, imagine how it can handle the tough jobs around the house.
Incredible.
Ed? Mr. White? Eastman 910 adhesive. One drop is stronger than you are.
Hi, I'm Joe Namath. When you want to play like a pro, you need the right equipment. And when you want to fry like a pro, you need the right equipment too, like the Fry All Deep Fry from Hamilton Beach. Its compact square shape lets you deep fry chicken fast, deep fry shrimp fast, deep fry onions fast, deep fry potatoes crunchy fast. It even grills, cooks, and boils. The Fry All, it cooks and fries anything at all.
And for juicy burgers, there's the Little Mac and the Double Mac.
All great gifts from Hamilton Beach, Stover World of Appliances.
A murder trial opened today in Birmingham, Alabama, a trial that revived memories of one of the most shocking incidents of the civil rights struggle. Bruce Hall was there.
As worshipers gathered for church on a Sunday morning 14 years ago, exploding dynamite shattered Birmingham's 16th Street Baptist Church. The church had served as a staging area for the city's civil rights movement, led by Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. 4 young girls dressing for the choir were killed. The tragedy became a symbol of the violent and bitter civil rights era in the South. That era was reopened today as an ailing 73-year-old former Ku Klux Klansman Robert Chambliss went on trial, charged with the first-degree murder of one of the girls, 11-year-old Denise McNair. Miss McNair's father, who is now chairman of the Birmingham delegation to the state legislature, is expected to testify against Chambliss. The indictment of Chambliss was brought in by Alabama Attorney General Bill Baxley, who has personally pursued the case since he was elected in 1970. Critics have called it a vendetta on Baxley's part, a scheme to get himself elected governor. It took Circuit Judge Wallace Gibson less than 4 hours to accept a jury of 9 whites and 3 blacks. All of them said they were familiar with the case. In his opening statement, Baxley said the state would prove beyond any doubt that Robert Chambliss was guilty of first-degree murder. Defense attorney Art Haynes, Jr. said the bombing was a shocking incident, but that no one would be able to prove that Robert Chambliss was the man responsible. Judge Gibson ordered the jury sequestered and said he expects to complete the case by the end of the week. The state of Alabama has promised more indictments in this case and 20 other unsolved bombing incidents here in the 1960s. Bruce Hall, CBS News, Birmingham.
And that's the way it is. Monday, November 14th, 1977. This is Walter Cronkite, CBS News. Good night.
Remember.
Remember what?
I can't remember.
Did you want your vitamins?
That's it.
Wait, they're in your cereal.
Huh?
Product 19.
If you forget your vitamins, remember Kellogg's Product 19. A 1-ounce serving has 100% of the U.S. recommended daily allowance of 10 vitamins and iron.
I like it.
Good. Now can you remember this number?
Vitamins that taste too good to forget. Product 19.
Polaroid's now invented the easiest way ever to take pictures, the new one-step. For the first time, without focusing, you just press a button and a motor hands you the picture. Close shots, long shots, any shots. You never focus. The sharp, clear SX70 color comes up in minutes, automatically. Polaroid's new one-step, only $39.95, motor and all.
This has been the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite. For the latest news early, watch the CBS Morning News with Richard Threlkeld and Leslie Stahl.
You'll double up with laughter while Betty White leads a double life as divorcee and TV star on her hilarious new comedy, The Betty White Show, Mondays at 8 here on the CBS Television Network.
Stay tuned for Eyewitness News, next on Channel 5, WTVF, Nashville.
So, you finally got a new car, Mr. Marner.
Yep, and I'm going to protect it like nobody's business. I've got the shield.
Hey, Ed, how'd you get that storm damage fixed so fast?
It was easy. I've got the shield.
Give yourself the security of the shield of MFA Insurance. The shield of shelter for your home and car, for your health and life.
Hey, Joe! You got the shield, eh?
That's right, because I've got a new cigar. Here, have a baby.
Kmart.